It has an HR perspective as well as security perspective. Almost 140 courses now. AI CPA validation. We are recognized by state of Texas. Contract with some large corporation, $6 billion companies, all that. So far so good, looks okay. Let's see how the next 6 months we do there. It's worth visiting, have a look at it. If you guys need any free stuff, we can give that free stuff. The whole idea is education here, not making money, but we have to sustain the platform cost and all that. So it's very robust. Almost 14,000 minutes worth of courses, 8,000 in pipeline, and made for the people like us, you know. So anybody has any idea and you feel like that, hey, this is the knowledge I want to leave behind, then please come and meet me. We'll capture that knowledge and retain it on this platform. That's the whole legacy of this platform. A lot of us are highly educated. We have spent 20, 30 years in the field. So knowledge has to be for the benefit of others. So we want to leave that legacy of our knowledge. So if you feel you have knowledge, you have ideas, come and meet me. I would capture it. I'll get it in the form of the courses here. In the process, you will get some small benefit. I don't know how it works, but it's looking good. I was in Vegas last week at Development at Dave and Learn conference, and met a bunch of nice people there too. Okay, so it's time. You have any questions on this one?
Is it just, what's the website for this place?
Securitain.com, SECORETAIN.com. It's my email here.
Okay.
And the innosec.com is in the email there. You can visit on the phone. We took a lot of efforts in these colors and the branding. I couldn't believe it myself that we are capable of doing such a nice job. At the end of the journey, I liked it myself what it did. It's like a Netflix website. I can take off my courses and put the movies, it will work. So somebody once said that, why don't you file a patent for the website itself? I said, man, who has money for that? So let's go from here. It's 1 o'clock, guys, right on time. Let me put my connector here. So we're speaking about cloud security and compliance. Let me see if it all works. Very fine. We have 40 minutes. How much time we have? 40, 45 minutes? Yep. So I'll try to give you an idea. We're not going to go too much granular, in-depth. There are a bunch of slides there, but we'll focus on certain slides to get an idea of what it looks like. Conceptually, I'm not going to teach you what is cloud security. I believe that everybody has some foundation about IaaS, PaaS, SaaS. We know these words. At the same time, we know much of a compliance which goes into the market. What we are trying to see is that with a use case like AWS, how does cloud security helps us with the compliance? So I took a help of the person who's a MVP in AWS, Amazon. She gave me a bunch of their proprietary slides too, shared with me. And that helps me a lot to fine tune how the AWS can help us or what they provide. So essentially in the beginning of the course, we'll define what's cloud security, what are the risk factors which take into consideration. And I personally believe in simplification of the things. I'm really not a big fan of making things complex or they look complex. No, that's not the objective. The objective is that nobody would like to hear the word it's complex. The more you feel that, hey, it's doable, it's manageable, it's not going to cost too much of money, I'm a main proponent of that one. That's where the InnoSec comes into play too. Once again, briefly, those people who have come late, my name is Charu Pellanekar, but pronouncing Pellanekar is long, so I shortened it to PEL. So Charupel, innosec.com, that's cybersecurity. Charu at securitain.com is our e-learning platform. Briefly, what we are going to learn is Cloud Security Report sponsored by ISC Square. This is a good report to study, which gives the idea of what people are looking at, what are the challenges we have. Cloud computing risks, what are the risk factors involved in the cloud computing. Again, that Cloud Security Report review, little bit of slides on that. Cloud concerns, cloud security challenges, and framework, which takes into account. We are not going into CSA framework. We are more towards the cloud side of the framework. Okay. Briefly, as he rightly said, Z is missing, D is missing, some of the alphabets are missing, but that's okay. Rest is everywhere. I come from the financial background, guys. I'm a chartered accountant, I'm a CPA, and got deep down into compliance and cybersecurity. So you can speak with me debit, credit, capitalization, and you can speak with me IP address, I'll speak that language. founder of InnoSec Security. And this is a dream come true. Almost 25 years in experience. Started way back in 90s, the whole career. Today, 2021. I'll skip these slides. Almost all the areas. Have worked with Fortune 500 and all those companies. This is how, if you go to the InnoSec first page, looks like. I'll skip some of the slides which are intro related. 4 families of services. This is how we give the free assessment on the website. You can go free assessment, free on-demand assessment. You don't need to spend money on this. This is like a maturity model of assessment. We try to make it free for the companies. You don't have to spend money on this one. Click it, register it, and it gives you maturity of all the controls which are involved, and you can self-evaluate yourself. New thing we're trying to do is a ransomware assessment. We are actually creating GRC-like applications where you can evaluate your ransomware. We're trying to make it free also. You have ransomware here too, which is the quick one. This is much, much granular. But the whole idea is that we took whole international things into account. This is how the platform looks like, Security. You can click on cybersecurity compliance, that train on the top, and you can get to the demos. Demos are just teasers. You click there and you can request for the full-fledged interactive demos. Let me go to the next one. Yeah, we work with Texas Banker, we work with DIR too. Let's start the conversation. Cloud security. 104. What are the cloud computing risks? And I'm going to interact with you guys, and let's expect some kind of communication between us together. So first of all, how many people are actually working in the cloud space today? Anyone here? Okay, you guys are not supposed to ask me any question, not supposed to challenge me. If I'm wrong, tell me after 45 minutes. Risk associated with cloud computing is no different than those applicable to IT environment within the organization. That statement is really true. I felt from the beginning personally that, hey, everything was inside, on-prem. Now we are just putting in the cloud. Many people had data centers away from their own location, scattered around the country. But now instead of doing that, you go to Google and you use AWS tools to do that. The difference may originate from cloud service model, technology operation. We are going to see this with the graph. The characteristics of cloud computing led to enormous, okay, that's everybody knows about it. Key concerns related to law, we are going to visit that. The discussion of broad risk areas, we are going to visit that. We'll explore different aspects of cloud risk and cloud security in relation to AWS. I wrote Azure, but I'm silent on Azure. I'm mostly focusing on AWS. It just gets too long presentation. So this is a nice study, guys, and this is where we are going to interact. 2021 Cloud Security Report sponsored by ISISware. Anybody has seen this report? If you guys know, that's good for me then. Based on comprehensive survey of 750 cybersecurity professionals. Of course, it's a questionnaire, it's a survey. So there will be some kind of margin of error there. Latest cloud security trends report reveals how organizations are responding to security threats in the cloud. What tools and best practices cybersecurity leaders are considering. We are not going that much granular in the report, but you can Google that. I'm going to touch base on the main aspects of the report which we should know about it and where to focus. Firmly believe 80-20 rules. 80% you can manage, 20% you really have to focus or spend money. Okay, I want to, there are 3 top level areas which you feel are mostly we concern about risk in cloud. Can you guys name any one of them? What will be the first you feel? Topmost cloud security concern. You guys can answer, everyone. Yep, one of them.
Access control.
Yes, if I'm going to recollect my memory, I'm going to bring it on the top here. Data loss, leakage, data privacy, confidentiality, which is a disclosure, accidental exposure of credentials. So among the respondents, 64% right on the top, which is data disclosure, data leakage, data privacy, confidential, 62%. Means out of 750 people, 62% were saying this one. Accidental exposure of credential, 46%. Now, there are some bunch of things here. I would rather say that you can always read, but that's our focus, correct? This is where we are going to focus how the cloud security looks like. These are other concern areas: legal and regulatory compliance, visibility, transparency, incident response, data sovereignty, residency, and control. This one, many of the companies are already taking care of it. I don't know, almost each and every country is saying keep the data within the country, you can't transfer. And there are lawsuits almost all around the world. Banks are saying you can't transfer data, even to the extent I heard in India, MasterCard and Indian government was almost to the extent of whether MasterCard will work on India or not, because they don't want any of the PCI data going out of the country. So that was the latest case on that one, but there are lots of aspects involved in it. What do you see as the biggest security threats in public clouds? Yep. Oh, thank you. That's great. So this has been concern for many people, misconfiguration of the cloud platform. I'm not sure. It's like we almost now spent 10 years plus in trying to perfect this area of cloud. Microsoft, Azure, everybody has been in this space, but still we find this is one of the important area. I feel strongly it's not because there is an issue. Now a lot of small, big companies are getting into space. Everybody has a budget constraint, and each one according to his budget tries to do one step at a time. There are legacy systems, sometimes they don't know how to transfer. Some people don't want to go straight to the cloud, keep partially here, try to balance the two things, and that has been the nightmare. The biggest nightmare, either you do full cloud or you do full on-prem. When you try to do half year, that's where that misconfiguration thing is really causing a lot of trouble. Some of the clients have seen speaking again and again about this subject, but you put everything in the cloud, as you see in the slides coming, in the next slides, that even AWS folks are so much on it, they have a complete representation to help you out what may come to succeed in the cloud. That much of support you're going to get from them. Sensitive data, unauthorized access. Coming back to your access control. Insecure interfaces. External sharing of data, hijacking of accounts, malicious insider, foreign state-sponsored cyber attacks. So this is the picture you say when it comes to threats in public clouds. What are your biggest operational day-to-day headaches trying to perfect cloud workloads? Everyone is gone. Disappeared. Yeah, it did disappear. Okay, I'll bring it up after some time. Okay. No, if technology works, we won't be here. So it's good sometimes it doesn't work. I'm very happy with this. All I did is that moved it from my own laptop to my wife's laptop. So, cloud security challenges. Okay. Hold on 1 second, the slides are disappeared here. Slide number 16, why it's not showing.
I can talk about my headaches if you want.
That's causing a lot of friction. It should work fine? Cool. Give me a second, guys. I don't know, this is that slide number 16. I don't know why it was not showing up, but you can see here now. And yeah, but then why the slide was showing and not the picture? It did show us the blank one, so that was surprising. Nevertheless, you can see it, correct? Doesn't matter. Okay, it moves. I'll start with the effect. So this is important. That's the reason I brought examples of service available in cloud consumer. If you understand what we are trying to do in the cloud, understand what SaaS services are available, what's platform as a service, what infrastructure as a service. This is critical, guys. When you speak about security, this is something you should know right from the beginning. Once you understand what you are trying to secure, then only you know how you are going to secure. Okay, so that's the reason I wanted to go back to these slides. Then we'll come back to this one in a normal format. Security in the cloud, identity and access control. What are the challenges we face in the cloud? This is very critical. Access control is time and again we discuss about it. There are a lot of tools available. I'll show you how many tools actually AWS or Amazon people have made available. Governance is another big area. In the early stage and even today, Cloud Security Alliance recognized officially ISO 27001, correct? They didn't go and recognize NIST. They didn't even mention about any other thing, COBIT or whatever. They actually recognized ISO 27001. I felt one of the driving factors, if you look at ISO 27000, is something called ISMS 5 mandatory controls. If you understand compliance very well, those 5 mandatory controls in the ISMS implementation all have to do with governance. Many of these SOC 1, SOC 2, other compliances, you'll find they go technical, process oriented. You don't find governance aspect involved in it. And the biggest thing which is a nightmare, is actually governance. If you understand governance, you have committees, you have structure, you have reporting in place, many of the problems will be able to solve. So you'll listen time and again, you'll see governance is taking it's taking like one of the priorities now when it comes to security. Skill shortages, as always, that's the issue. Monitoring and response. A lot of steps have been taken by organization. There are many tools available in the market which can take care of monitoring. Almost every corporation is making it available. Next one, data leakages, the cost of sensitive data leaking from the cloud storage. Some of this stuff, I presume, guys, you all are aware of it, so I'll quickly move to the next one, shadow IT. This is the biggest one. Has anybody experienced shadow IT examples in your office? Have you gone through this one? This is really interesting. It's really fascinating when you come to know that how many people have used your corporate names and actually created the cloud environment, created websites and all that. Has anybody did this kind of audit? So it's really interesting, and it's a very big bank, almost talking about $20-30 billion. So banks are in revenue, so $1 trillion plus in assets. And that kind of banks, there are people, there is a lot of creativity. So they have a department, we just keep scanning websites to find out if somebody has gone and created something in the name of the company, correct? Domain may not be xyz.com. This is always, subdomains and all that they try to create. And then they try to create that whole thing in place, and you have to scan and find out. So there is a training in security now just dedicated to shadow IT. Because I liked it. When I saw this one, I couldn't believe that. Is it possible? Is it possible even for the organization people to do like that? But I think developers are really creative people, and their creativity is at peak when they see that cloud and they feel that the cloud belongs to them. So they do everything what they want to do in the cloud. It's really fascinating. Issues can vary depending on the type of the cloud. Audit and compliance issues can differ. I think this is not a secret. On the other hand, software as a service, logs down processing on the vendor side, application features. Again, it comes down to the type of the cloud you have. I'll explain it one with a nice graphical presentation here. So this graph will tell you what happened. Infrastructure managed by, owned by, located infrastructure. If it's a public cloud, third-party provider, off-premise, just take into account, then I'll explain in this slide. So, if you have a hybrid cloud, see the responsibility. Both organization, third-party provider has a responsibility. That's what you see here. Private community cloud, that's another part of it. You must know conceptually what cloud you're into. There could be private cloud, and the public cloud, which is in the like AWS, you're just getting some instance into the market. Whether you take it as a SaaS, whether you take it as the IaaS or PaaS, you basically in the cloud, third-party cloud, correct? So you have to understand, pretty much this is diagram, you can take a picture of it, but this is something you must know before you even recommend to the person that, hey, what are we trying to do as a security? And I don't even know where I found this particular one, but I really liked it. It just tells you immediately that how we are going to approach the security in the cloud. Infrastructure implies physical infrastructure such as facilities, compute, network, storage equipments. Both physical aspects come into play, and where the SOC 1, SOC 2s are coming into play too. Cloud security domains, architectural concepts and design requirement, cloud data security, very crucial, cloud platform infrastructure security, application security, operations, legal and compliance. This is your universe when it comes to security. And there could be creativity, guys, doesn't matter how people place it. These are the areas you're going to come across when it comes to cloud security. So your foundation, the very basic principle that, hey, if I want to know what to do or how to do, you should know what are the areas you're trying to implement the security. So once again, architecture, data, platform, application, operation security is very critical, legal and compliance. We're going to go and look at it. So this is like a cloud reference model from CSA. You can see infrastructure as a service up to what level they can control, platform as a service, what they're, and compute and storage, rapid application development, SaaS represent. This will, I'll explain it much better way in a granular reference model. Let me look at the time accordingly. I will, 19, okay, we have 30 minutes. Okay. Broad areas of the risk. I need your help, guys. So what could be, we already seen a couple of slides, and what could be the areas of the risk which are summarized or divided into 10 categories. Authentication, privileged user access. If you have spent 15, 20 years in the industry, you will understand privileged user access is really a nightmare. If you're saying that I'm a hacker and I'm going to hack into corporation, and I'm sitting there quiet for the last 6 months because I'm waiting to get access to one of the privileged user account. They are not enjoying there, they don't like to sit there. All they're waiting for 6 months and being dormant to find out how can they scale up, and looking for dormant privileged user access account. That's what they do. Personally, I believe that they're today, even in my application, they may be sitting there quiet looking for that particular privilege account, because what we don't know about it. That's principally, I believe. So we just call it, we got hacked when we come to know about it and they get some privilege access. TextDot is one of the best examples. If you have studied the case of TextDot and read about it, it's a fascinating example of how that whole hack happened. Of course, SolarWinds is another level altogether. Even I tried to get SolarWinds guy to speak in one of the panel discussion, but I still didn't get a reply. Data security and privacy. Anybody familiar with guys, you have read GDPR here? It's fabulous. So let me just give you an idea quickly. Do read GDPR. Whatever is going to happen around the world is going to be centered around GDPR. It's well written, privacy, and there are articles 1 to 2. If you want free access to the GDPR training, those people who are sitting here, just email me. I'll give free access to all of you to GDPR training. It's one of the best way we have done it. We actually explained article by article what's the right of consent and all that. And whether it's a CCPA or any other law coming, we are going to see around the world, and the way the privacy will be designed, and even what will be called as PII, PHI is well defined in that particular law. So I would recommend, even if you're AppSec people, and if you're saying that, hey, I'm more concerned about data privacy, before you utter the word data privacy, you should understand what you're speaking about. And I would say that don't look around anywhere, not required, just study the GDPR. It's really neat and clean. Don't try to learn too much, keep it at a high level. But if you're uttering the word privacy, you must know that, because it's not about just securing the private data. It's all about, even, can I use the private data? Do I have your consent to use the private data? To what extent I can store the data? If the purpose for which I collected data from you is no more being the purpose now, correct? So let's say I collected the data for the marketing intention, but that purpose is over. I'm no longer doing that one. Then I can't keep your data. I'm not supposed to have it because the lawful purpose, there's a definition called lawful purpose. That's why you are supposed to use it. If that lawful purpose doesn't stay there, I should not be having your data at all. I must remove it. And it's a requirement. It's not just so. If Facebook is paying penalty, Google is paying penalties in millions and billions, that's the only reason that they are not following all these requirements there. But when it comes to privacy, you must know that interfacing with internal systems, system availability, business continuity, it's very, very crucial. One of the areas I would always say that whether it's a ransomware, whether it's a privacy, whether it's an encryption, you may speak about anything in the world, you must know business continuity. The reason behind is that hacks are going to happen. I don't know if you guys were in the keynote speaker today morning listening to Jeff, and he said that, hey, is this a right way to do the things or not right way to do the things, correct? That has been conversation or behind whether the AppSec is doing its job or not, or we are just stagnant. And I always look security as an enterprise risk, not just one aspect could be application security, but it is a risk-based approach. You must know what are the risks involved and then decide what area you're going to focus on, correct? You should not be over-investing in the application security when your priorities are different. So just to give that in a broad perspective is all about enterprise risk management. And under enterprise risk management, business continuity is always going to get the good rating. You have to have it, okay? So control environment, regulatory compliance, long-term viability, and the ownership of content and other legal requirements. This is very crucial. And the regulatory compliance is very crucial. That's where you can saw in the earlier part when we did ISC Square report, we had almost 46, 47% of the people saying it's a nightmare. And it's truly nightmare, but I'm going to show you how AWS helps there. Adopting cloud requires an organization to rethink security to effectively safeguard assets and data. I'm going to go quickly. Prepare cloud security reference model, security strategy, risk assessment, control framework, technology roadmap. Very much important. Each of these aspects, security strategy, one of the things where we fail is that how you're going to secure your house. Just think about it. When you construct the house, you build the doors, you build the windows, and first thing you think about is security. How's the neighbor looks like? Do I need video cameras? All these things is really very, very important when it comes to organization. I always use the word simplify, make it more easy for the people. That's where it comes to. Risk assessment, control framework, technology roadmap. You kind of do word analysis, the vendor analysis. How do you procure? Gartner has a very good framework on the vendor management. If you guys get a chance to read it, it's a free. It tells you how to onboard vendor and gives you a good idea of what are the steps, what are the due diligence involved. Okay. Those people who are coming late, they owe me lunch.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then you're most welcome. You just need to go and tell them. Framing and vendor selection, value prototype. High-level architecture, low-level architecture, implement, orchestrate. I'll go oversight management, service management, supply management, contract review, technology gap analysis, SLA negotiation, scaling plan. I don't know, the SL is also one of the nightmare, okay? It's very difficult to get there. Now, let's look at very important, very good stuff. Cloud security reference model. I'm going to go quick and I'm going to explain. And generally when I'm doing, if there's a time available, I tell people to answer the question and come up with this reference model yourself. But it's not difficult to decide. All the risk areas are being captured here: identity access management, data security, platform, encryption management. It's a huge area. Encryption management is well supported by all these people, AWS. I'll show it to you guys. Logging monitoring, cloud supply management, training and awareness, application development, secure testing, change management, very crucial. Responsive security management. I'm not explaining, I presume guys you know all this thing, okay? So that's why I'm not going to go granular. Legal and electronic discovery. Cloud security baseline. So what the baseline means? All these providers, public providers, provide something of some level, correct? They give you company security baseline, cloud service provider security baseline. They're giving some baseline for you. On the top of that, you have to start building all these things. And you need to understand that at particular point of time, this is limited in space. You have to start create training and awareness is very, very crucial here. I'll go quickly. What are the challenges? Constantly evolving regulatory requirements, unique risk and regulatory challenges, requirements that vary significantly across the highly dynamic security threat. What this means is that many organizations, correct, they are widespread regionally, locally, and everybody has his own requirements. You should be aware of that. That's what it is. And you guys can read this one, limited specialist security compliance. Let's go to the. So let's come to the Amazon. How's the Amazon shared responsibility model looks like? Customer responsibility for security in the cloud. Your data, your platform, application, identity, access management, operating system, network, firewall, configuration, client-side data, server-side encryption, everything belongs to you. You fail, you cannot blame the cloud people. As simple as that. So they did a very nice job. Told you are responsible for everything else, which is what I say, on-prem or when you're coming to the cloud, there's not much of a difference. You're just getting an infrastructure ready and you're building a security on top of it. What's AWS is responsible for? Software, that's basically all those containers and everything which you're looking for. Compute, storage, database, networking, hardware, global infrastructure, regions, availability zones, edge locations. Typical terms, they use it in Amazon, regions, availability zones, edge location. Concept called security tower, that's what they use the word. Now, expectations here, internal audit team, AWS third-party auditors, SOC 1, SOC 2 report is something which you rely on mainly for the public cloud space. How many guys here read the SOC 2 report here? Have you ever reviewed the SOC 2 reports? Great. So among the trust service criteria for the people who have not seen the SOC 2 report, quickly I'll brush up you guys. There are different kind of trust service criteria. Journey started from SAS 70 to SSA 16 to SSE 18. Okay, I'm a compliance freak guy, so I can really dictate everything. So among that, there are 5 trust service criteria. They call it CC1, CC2. That actually it used to be common criteria. Now they call it TSC, which is trust service, but they kept the nomenclature CC still there. So you'll CC 1.1, CC 1.2. Among them, previously it was not mandatory, but now under the flagship first service criteria, which is the security, all the controls are mandatory. What it says that you must show that you have implemented all these controls under security for any CPA to certify that you are compliant with SOC 2, SOC 1. SOC 1 is just telling you that you have process in place, policies, procedures, you have it. SOC 2 involves actual testing, that you actually implemented and you have evidence to support it. That's what SOC 1, SOC 2 is all about. So among that, there is a type 1 and type 2, correct? SOC 1 and SOC 2. So when you look at the SOC 2 report, okay, one of the things you're going to look for is that all the controls which are listed there, whether they have, say that tested, compliant, no issues, that, in a simple terms. But you can go to the CPA, ICPA website and download all the controls and map that they have considered all the controls. It's a requirement. If any of the certified public accountant signs that document, that means he verifies all these 100, 200 controls under security are taken into consideration. Then you have availability is another criteria which is most commonly accepted. Another criteria which is most commonly accepted is the privacy. So we have 5 different criteria called trust service criteria. Each of them has a controls, and those controls are documented, policy, procedures, and evidence, and tested by the CPA. That's what SOC 1, SOC 2 is about. That's what the third party comes into play. So anybody who is working in the cloud or the security space should know SOC 1, SOC 2. What SOC 1, SOC 2 does here, ISO 27001 does it internationally. In international, people will going to ask you, are you ISO certified? Approach is different. It has mandatory control under ISMS section 125, and then you go on all the way from the 6 or 7 all the way up to 18. 18 domains. Inside each domains they have a control, and you have to. Audit is very easy when it comes to ISMS. Certified organizations are supposed to do that audit, but it's very light audit. The intention of the ISO 27000 that you give a due consideration for all the controls. Testing is involved, but rarely will get the negative audit report. Okay, SOC 2 can have certain issues. They can find out issues. I've not seen ISO 27000 giving so many issues. But those are the things you should know when it comes to the CSA, because CSA recommends ISO 27001, Cloud Security Alliance. Okay, so we should know about it. Quickly, shared responsibility model, Amazon EC2, Amazon VPC. I will virtual private cloud, VPC, RDS, EMR. Instead of going into that granular details, understand what's the customer responsibility expectations in AWS and what's AWS responsibility. We already saw earlier in the earlier particular thing. Guys, this slides belong to AWS, got it courtesy to my friend, she shared with him, so I'm lucky to have it in front of you. So it gives easy snapshot of what are your expectations as a customer, how you are responsible in EC2, RDS, EMR, Amazon Dynamo, DB, AWS S3. You can study this. All those names on the top, you can easily Google it. It's not a secret. Everything is public knowledge, guys, okay? But if you understand what's going on, this makes your life easy working with any cloud provider, whether it's Azure or even Microsoft does a very good job at it, guys. Very excellent job at it. I remember for Marathon Oil, I did a study where they told me that they are going to get Microsoft. Among everything I studied, they give me 2,000, 3,000 pages of the document. Only thing I found out that encryption keys were not given to us in time. They were taking a lag of 6 months. And that was a finding then. I don't know, things may have changed. So we had only one issue there saying that we don't want email directly going, wanted to go to 360 email too. And we said to them that, guys, our CEOs or something, if they have a problem or somebody trying to phish them or somebody, we need to block it immediately. We can't wait to create the ticket and then you guys act on it. Can you block it within 30 minutes or 10 minutes or even immediately sometime? So there was an issue going on and we were trying to route it through the blue code from our side, then it goes to the Azure side, and then we basically, so idea behind is that we have a control from our side to block whatever we want to block. Just if you guys have an idea of what I'm speaking about on network side. So having said that, they will give you ton of documentation. This whole knowledge is a public knowledge. If you start going through the AWS links, you will find it. I have them handy. I'll share it with you if you need them. Looking at more customer responsibility, more security ownership, less customer responsibility, more best practices built in. Now I'll go to the next slide, which will give more idea. Customers on AWS. What does Amazon? AWS supports more security standards and compliance certification than any other offering. That's a marketing pitch, including this one. But they do a very good job. They have all sorts of certification attestation support. ISO 9000, 27000, 27001, and 27017, cloud specific. This is like cloud specific controls, what CSA does. If you guys understand internationally, people do not have separate nomenclature. Rest of the world will always speak about ISO 27017, right? ISO 27 on the privacy also 701 or something, 27701 on the privacy. So alignment with frameworks, they do align very well with the frameworks. Whenever I have anything written here, guys, the information is available on AWS. Anything written, you can click it here, there, you'll find granular information, pages after pages. Laws and regulation privacy, they comply with many laws here, but these are the main ones that all those countries' laws and regulation that really try to comply with. They're doing really, really great job here. So if you have any challenges here, this is the slide you need to look at. I'm on 137, so I'm going to go through some of the couple of more. I'll skip this one. Service level agreement, cloud access control, cloud data security is repetition. What is the objective? To ensure that information processed, transmitted, stored on the cloud architecture is secure. We already taken AWS Security Identity Compliance. Let me give you that one. AWS Security Identity Compliance Solutions. This is all under identity. AWS Identity Access Management, IAM, single sign-on, organization. Each and everything, I have a little bit slide to explain, but you guys can study. Detective controls, Security Hub, Guard Duty, Inspector, CloudWatch, Cloud Trail also, flow logs, AWS IoT Device Defender. This is all available, guys. You just need to use it to get your security built. So before you start putting or creating something new, understand what's given by them. Firewall Manager, Network Firewall, AWS Shield. I have used couple of Amazon VPC is one of the best one. They will tell you guys if you ask them. It allows kind of very structured approach, security in buckets. I'll quickly go in lieu of time. Amazon Detective, Cloud India, DR. There is a link here, guys. Well, architecture security. You can copy this link, and you can from here you start. You'll get everything. Let's put it that way. That's why I put the instead of putting link everywhere, I put it here. How this get aligned to life cycle? Identify. You didn't take a picture yet. No, it was there for 30 seconds, man. You miss the picture, then you miss everything. Okay, when he keeps the camera down, I don't know your name, but then I know that everybody has done. You have to follow him. Because I know the first camera comes out is from him before he even starts saying something. So my timer is with him. Unfortunately, he's sitting at the back, okay. AWS Security Service aligned to lifecycle. This is how it's aligned. Identify, protect, detect. So both two slides really give the true picture of the capability of the clouds, guys. I mean, we don't need to go around look for the things. It's there. It's just how to use it. And I'm lucky that I'm actually working with MVP there, who makes my life easy. Whenever I have a problem, she just tells me, go here, look at it. Go here, look at it, and you'll find the solution. And it's I'm open here anytime you need anything. Just ping me. I'll send you the link immediately. Somehow, most of the time, it's handy with me. So what's available under each of this? In lieu of time, I'm not going to speak about each area. You feel free to take your cameras, take the pictures. So we had all that under identity access management. What each of those cognitive, add user sign up, sign in, access control to your web and mobile apps, policy-based management for multiple AWS accounts, simple secure service for sharing AWS resources. Detective controls, granularly what's available. One of the important, hold on a second, if I can go back. Amazon CloudWatch, complete visibility of your cloud resources and application to collect metrics, monitor log files, set alarms, automatically react to changes. This is one of the things which is really good. Inspector is good. Guard Duty, I have used it. Trail, I have used it. VPC flow logs, not much. Firewall Manager. Next one, Amazon Messi. How much time I have here? Another 5-7 minutes on 141, guys. AWS VPN. AWS VPN is a lot of small companies find AWS VPN really, really good. Below 5 million, 10 million people, that's really, really good, guys. Compliance, AWS Audit Manager. They work with all these service companies as partners in different areas, different doors. There is a established relationship with these companies and able to give you what you need. Just to give the bird's eye view of if we are going to network infrastructure security, where to look for some help, where to look for some identity access. You probably know all these things. Last 2-3 slides. Your framework. Customer Cloud Control Framework is equal to controls inherited from AWS plus your customer enterprise-wide controls, service-specific controls, workflow. Do you agree, guys? Yes? Yeah. So this is good, this keeps our job. That's what it is important. You know what is workload one? What's the workload in the context of AWS? Do you know what workload means? Interesting. Okay, guys. It's just applications and data. AWS people will use inside word called workload to represent apps and data. So they always use the terminology workload there. Associated risk, control objective. So something to brag about after this class. Go outside and ask, do you know workload, okay? If they don't know, just laugh at them. Okay? Say there you missed it. You have to go to the class again. So this is common sense, guys. You have risk, you have controls, control objectives and controls. Thanks to, do you know COSO framework? When Sarbanes-Oxley compliance came in, they are the originators of this one. This is all started from COSO cube, guys, if the compliance cube, where the history belongs. And they have this risk involved, control objective for the risk, and what are the controls are involved. I'll quickly go through. Just a simple explanation how this can be applied. You want to build a data lake with 360 view of the customer. What are the kind of the risk involved? What's the control objective look like? And what's the control will look like? Just a representation of what you saw in the earlier slide. I think I'm towards the close end. I'm going to skip this slide. This is go fast. Capture log users resource activity CloudTrail records. This just gives you a little bit brief about what is CloudTrail, what is Cloud AWS config, continuous compliance AWS config rules. AWS config can automatically remediate, how the automatic remediation happens, correct? Just to give the bird's eye view of all that what you have seen. So the link I gave you, I told you to photograph. If you click that link, probably this will start sprawling and you can be able to reach to all these areas, okay? I think this is more or less, I'll quickly go to the end. You have any question? We have another 10 minutes, I think, for questions.
I have a question.
No hard question, man. Simple, easy, okay?
Simple.
Yes.
I've been trying for a year and a half to get our developers to rotate their AWS security keys. What they did is when they first built the applications, they hard-coded in all of their security keys into service accounts and the application. And some of our keys are like 3 years old that have never been rotated.
And they're checked in the GitHub, right?
Checked into what?
GitHub. Checked in GitHub, yeah.
Probably GitHub too. But I can't, for the life of me, get them to move to something like Secrets Manager, or we're afraid of the app breaking if we rotate the keys because they hard-coded, they admitted to some degree that they hard-coded some of their keys into the application.
So hard coding of the keys has been a problem. I don't know whether you're going with any sort of compliance. You don't educate the people and tell them what is right. Tell them that the compliance requires it. That's a language people sometimes require.
Yeah.
Any compliance you speak about today, whether you go with any framework, whether you go with the PCI, or remotely anything related to privacy. Even if you speak about privacy, you can say that, hey, this privacy regulation, if you are in industry, healthcare, HIPAA requires some of this thing. You blame any compliance, you probably will get more easy output. If you try to change the people, it's very difficult sometimes. Otherwise, training is another aspect. You involve training, involve AWS people. They're really, really good at it. They will give a dedicated time to you guys and conduct a training for you. That's one thing I liked about it. If you don't get anything, call me. I'll get this MVP to talk to your people for 30 minutes. Yeah, I'll call her and I say that she's now become a CISO of their another division, but she's really doing very well. Very good friend of mine.
Here's a quote that I heard today to ask your developer team. Who is the contact if this product gets owned tomorrow?
Well, technically, the AWS team. They own the product, they just don't secure it, even though.
Well,
It's always you.
Okay, so we go back to this place.
They're not the system owners, aren't they?
the system owners, but
Not the application or not the customer.
So who would that be? Just a regular daily person?
whoever.
If you don't know the owner of the application, it's very difficult. So you have a business owner and you have It's in SaaS. Even if in SaaS mode, you typically will have a business owner for the application. Ultimately, the ball is always going to be it's on the corporation. Because see, I showed you in the responsibility metrics, correct? Literally, they take a very little responsibility towards the infrastructure. Anything about infrastructure to more towards the application, they are really telling you are the one responsible. And they make it very clear from the day one. So it doesn't matter how you look at it. See, this is where they all come back to. And then once you look at this slide, they're always going to say customer. It doesn't matter how you're going to do it. And very common among them, they will bring it that, guys, we define from the day one, once you decide to marry us, this is what you're going to do. You're responsible for everything. And this is another one, correct? Where you have responsibilities being attached according to EC2 to S3, basically, correct? S3 is commonly for the backup and all that. EC3 is where you have most of the things running. Any other question, guys? Any other comments? Was it worth spending 40 minutes with me? Thank you. I like it. So happy. Yeah, it's something which I love to do it. First of all, I'm very happy that after 1.5 years, or how much? 16 months, we are able to meet each other in person. Really, really happy. I mean, I'm a people person. I was really frustrated. I don't want to even look at Zoom anymore. Forget it. They're still charging me, but I want to get rid of it. Teams is free, so you might as well use it. But this is another slide, guys. Keep in mind. Very nice one. Thank you so much. I will not hold you here, guys. You have 10 minutes back. Enjoy the coffee, drink, and I'm here. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I just was hoping you could put the slide with your email information again.
Oh, yes.
Unless you have a card.
Wait. That's the first one. We have to put it. Okay.
On the right.
Here you go. Do email me if you want any of the GDPR, SOC 2 courses and everything. Just email me. I'll get you free access. Money will come. It's not important. It's there. So we have done a good job. There are a couple of SOC 2 courses. You don't need to do everything. 1 or 2 courses in the beginning is good. Under Secure 10, I can easily give the access. Not a problem. GDPR, I'll recommend, guys. You must know GDPR if you're in. Doesn't matter what field of security you are. If you don't know privacy, you will be you don't know something. Very important, guys. Very important. Okay. So I would say, any other question, let me know. I'm here for rest of the day. By the way, does anybody know what's the plan today? Today evening, what time we close here?
Yeah, for the last session, at 3 o'clock in the big room.
And then after?
Drawing.
3 to 4? No party?
3 to 4, then we get drawings afterwards.
3 drawings.
Are you going to share the slides?
I will, selectively. There are some proprietary of AWS, I'll get a permission. But here's my card. Can you just send me the email here quickly? You already have but you can pick up my card. Send me email and then I'll send certain slide deck in private completely, and certain I have to give it back to the people, to the LASCON, correct? Okay, not a problem. Thank you so much, guys. Thanks once again. Take care, bye.